Welcome back to my film review channel where you can be sure of sustainably sourced, line-fished critiques. Ron Howard is famous for a number of things like narrating Arrested Development and directing Apollo 13, and now he has made another near-disaster movie, 13 Lives, with the unlucky number right up there again in the title. It's his rather decent retelling of an amazing true-life story, the Tam Luang cave rescue in northern Thailand in 2018, when international volunteers and Thai Navy SEALs battled to rescue 12 teenage boys and their football coach, trapped in a flooded cave.
Hello?
Hey, they're here.
How many of you?
13.
13?
They're all alive.
Can we go out now?
Howard and his screenwriter William Nicholson have the tricky job of following last year's excellent documentary on this subject, The Rescue, by Jimmy Chin and Elizabeth Chai Vasahelye. Colin Farrell and Viggo Mortensen play John Volanthen and Rick Stanton, two dedicated amateur cave divers from Britain who were brought over to Thailand at the prompting of resident British national and experienced diver Vern Unsworth, played by Lewis Fitzgerald. It was Volanthen and Stanton who first found the boys alive, but how to get them out? Even with scuba gear and guidance, the boys couldn't be relied on to swim out without panicking and drowning in the darkness, and so Stanton suggested bringing over another diver, Australian anaesthesiologist Harry Harris, played by Joel Edgerton, who has the terrifying job of putting each boy under sedation and floating their sleeping form through the narrow cave tunnels, periodically topping up the dose, with death an ever-present danger for both rescuer and rescued. Howard conveys the claustrophobia and the danger of the cave system and finesses the basically unavoidable problem of white saviorism by making the performances as unassuming and un-Hollywood as possible. Mortensen, Farrell and Edgerton all go into ordinary bloke mode. The only really Hollywood moment comes when another British diver, Chris Jewell, played by Tom Bateman, almost panics and loses his nerve, a bit like Ives in The Great Escape. There is actually another problem here, which Ron Howard clearly found insoluble, so he just avoids it, just as Chin and Vasahelye avoided it in their documentary. The notorious plutocrat Elon Musk disgraced himself during the rescue by calling Unsworth a pedo for rejecting his preposterous offer of his personal submarine for the rescue, clearly unsuitable, being obviously too big and unmanoeuvrable. The film doesn't mention any of this, and maybe ignoring Musk's grotesque outburst is the only way to go. This event, tonally jarring, is an example of how real life sometimes just won't fit into the template. It's what you leave out when you're printing the legend. After almost 40 years, Wim Wenders' Euro-Americanist masterpiece Paris, Texas, co-written by Sam Shepard, is now on re-release. It feels as richly mysterious as ever, with its wailing, shuddering slide guitar by Ry Cooder on the soundtrack, which became as much of an instant classic as Ennio Morricone's theme for The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. The music mimics the desolate beauty of the Texan landmass and the micro-landscape of the star's own weather-beaten face. This was, of course, the unforgettably gaunt and haunted Harry Dean Stanton, who at 58 years old, and after a lifetime of self-effacing supporting roles, suddenly leapfrogged mere star status to become an icon.
I was hoping to show you that I was your father. You showed me I was.
How can you have two fathers? Just lucky, I guess.
I could never heal up what happened. I can't even hardly remember what happened. It's like a gap.
Have you seen Jane or talked to her? We thought you were dead, boy.
How long have I been gone, do you know?
4 years.
Is 4 years a long time?
It is for a little boy.
There will be no safety zone. I can guarantee you the safety zone will be eliminated.
What's out there?
I gotta go away now.
Why?
Because I'm gonna find her.
How's it going?
I want to find her too.
I knew these people. They were in love with each other.
It's a beautiful looking, beautiful sounding film, one of the great event movies of the Cannes Film Festival where it won the Palme d'Or and captivated everyone with its superb visuals, its withheld narrative mystery and its outsider European take on American culture, not dissimilar perhaps to Lars von Trier a generation later. Stanton plays Travis, a dishevelled guy seen at first walking surreally alone through the parched desert in a shabby suit and tie, mute and clearly in some traumatised state, agonised by a secret history of guilt and shame. Finally, he has to be picked up by his long-suffering brother Walt, a wonderful performance from Dean Stockwell. Walt has these 4 long years been looking after Travis's infant son Hunter, after Travis suddenly vanished and his wife Jane, played by Nastasia Kinski, disappeared also. What on earth has been happening all this time? Walt and his French wife Anne, played by Aurore Clément, take Travis into their home, if not yet precisely their hearts, and he lives with them in suburban LA, hardly more than a kid himself. But then Travis opens up about his dreamy, long-forgotten plan to live in the little town of Paris, Texas, where he was apparently conceived, and gets it together sufficiently to take Hunter on a road trip with him to Houston, where he has discovered Jane is living. And it is there that he finds her working in a sleazy and somewhat bizarrely imagined peep show, a rather Lynchian touch. Both Stockwell and Stanton went on to work with David Lynch. The lonely geographies of Texas and the unglamorous LA suburbs are superbly caught, and vendors and Shepard indulge a love of motels with their heartbreaking neon signs about vacancies and TV and aircon. This movie did as much as anything to make motels the signifier of roadside reality in the American heartland and rescue them from the taint of Psycho and the Bates Motel. Finally, there are those amazing climactic scenes in the peep show, a metaphor for Travis and Jane's alienation from each other. It's such an eerie, sad story. A friend of mine once said that you finish this film feeling like you've just eaten a very big, sumptuous, but rather filling restaurant meal. Some of Paris, Texas looks a little contrived now, but there is still real artistry in it. That's it. Please give this YouTube channel a like and a share on social media. And very importantly, pull your fist back at shoulder height and hit that subscribe button and leave a pert little comment to say that you've subscribed and how that makes you feel about yourself. And also, buy my book, The Films That Made Me, an edited selection of my essays and reviews for The Guardian. See you next week.